That's what that meant, though. Um, Good. I'm glad. I'm finger banging my little girl. That's it. I want this over this week. Daddy, fucking. Oh my fucking god. Oh god. Daddy, fucking. That's what I'm doing. I'm in that puss. Kiss that pussy mound too. Kiss that pubic mound. Oh my god. That's what you probably weren't born then. That's what they mean by shrapnel flavored chewing gum. It was called Black Flak back then. It was an act. You could get. Remember Big League Chew? That's what we fucking went now. Big League was delicious. It was like a big pouch of bubble gum. Remember chocolate cigarettes and candy cigarettes? Well, eventually, when my era came to be, they started making fake because it was illegal at this point when I'm a kid to sell candy cigarettes. I still remember buying them, and you can blow. You would get them. They were wrapped in paper, and if you blew through them, there was confectionery sugar that would make a little sugar cloud. You remember those? You could eat the whole fucking cigarette or candy cigarettes, chocolate cigarettes. I remember them too. Yeah, that's what we used to have, and then they became illegal. Because remember Joe Camel? Remember Joe's apartment though? That was the worst. Do you remember Joe Camel though? He was my favorite. I smoked Camel filters religiously. They used to give away Camel Cash. Remember Camel Cash? It was before Marlboro Miles. Camel Cash, if you saved up enough, you can get yourself a goddamn leather jacket with Joe Camel on the back. Yeah, but no, like this chewing gum they sold was called Black Flak, and it was like a flag jacket or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was supposed to mean, but yeah, and it had a picture of Sylvester Stallone on the cover, and it was like grape shredded wads of gum that looked like a Kodiak or a pouch of tobacco. That's what Jello Biafra meant by that, like shrapnel flavored chewing gum, Rambozo the Clown. I think he was being a little hard on Sylvester Stallone because I really enjoyed Sylvester Stallone's movies terribly. The first nothing after the first Blood, but yeah, and he was talking about Iron Ego. That was a movie called Iron Eagle. It was about warfare and blah 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 blah. Red Dawn was another one. That was a big movie in my day. Red Dawn. He said any kid can take over Libya, just steal a fighter plane, and that's basically the premise of the movie. But does anybody out there remember that shit? Black Flak. And you'd get it, and it actually looked. I remember even being like a 9 or 10 year old kid and looking at the package and being like, this looks cheesy. Because it was like just a black background and a superimposed picture of Sylvester Stallone sweating while his AK-47 was mid firing. It was delicious gum though. But if you went to the store, that's what you got. It would be right next to Big League Chew or whatever. Yeah, I can't believe I remembered that. It was called Black Flak. You know, like a flag jacket or something. It's shrapnel flavored chewing gum. It actually tasted good. But my sister was a ginormous fucking Sylvester Stallone fan. She had tons of it. She had that in her little scrapbooks. She had autographed pictures. She used to write to him and shit. She had his glossy 8x10 with the autograph. But they eventually had to stop making Camel Cash. They eventually had to stop making chocolate cigarettes, candy cigarettes. I used to love to go to the confectionery. That's what they called those places back then. That's how long ago it was. They called them confectionaries. You could go to the confectionery and get you could probably still get a lot of that shit, like lemon heads or whatever, and shit like that, and Alexander the Grape. You could get those. Those were delicious. Real cheesy fucking 1980s candy that was left over from the 60s and 70s. Or you can get yourself, I like Big League Chew. It was a big goddamn it must have been like an ounce. I'm thinking an ounce or more of this delicious shredded. It was like little strings of strawberry gum, or because how all the old ball players used to have a big pouch of, a big cheek full of tobacco and shit. It was like that. But Black Flak was good. That's some good fucking marketing. I wonder how much that motherfucker made off licensing his own chewing gum. Not too shabby, as they say. Not too bad.